Nicholas Taleb, what an intellect. Firstly, I'd like to pay homage to Taleb. He's, a mega brain, and he's given us so much. He's, just some of his thoughts, some of his books have been outstanding. Skin in the Game comes to mind, Black Swan, two major, I guess, foundations of that's formed a lot of Bitcoin thinkers. So I don't want to throw the baby out with the bathwater. Sadly, I think a spat with Safadine has basically rotted his brain, and he doesn't quite, or he either hasn't done the work or refuses to do the work when it comes to Bitcoin, because what he just stated there is absolutely wrong. So, the Federal Reserve, I understand what he's saying. The Federal Reserve is there to try and solve, fluctuations in the economy. But what I think, if you take a step back and look at that and go to the problems that they're trying to solve, are the problems that they caused to start with. So there needs to be an acknowledgement of where the problems came from. And if we look at where this inflation comes from now, which is basically the major issue in the economy that we're facing, the inflation that we're facing today came from the money printing that they did 2 to 3 years ago. So it's like, well, maybe if you just didn't print the money, we wouldn't have the inflation problem today. So, I think to Taleb's point, I can demonstrably prove to him that the issuance, supply, and the ledger of Bitcoin is immutable. That's far more solid than changing the whims of the issuance and supply when it comes to the Federal Reserve. So I think it can be proven, literally, without a reasonable doubt, that Bitcoin has a far more stable issuance than the Federal Reserve. So maybe he just needs to do more work, do your own research. And I think the Bitcoin community is very hostile to him. So maybe on more personal reasons, he won't spend the time to investigate further, which is a shame, because I'd love to have him on board as a Bitcoiner, and I think he'd be a great advocate, and all of his work lines very nicely with Bitcoiners. So it'd be a great win to have him on board.
It really would be. And as much as I like to make fun of Taleb, his ideas and concepts are phenomenal. I've read Black Swan. It's a great book. I'm obviously very familiar with the concept of reflexivity and, being anti-fragile. And Bitcoin is everything Taleb writes about, which is what's so frustrating.